This is Fam Electric Ghost, and we are live on our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch channels with Standpoint to the Sun. And we're glad to have you on the program today. It's cool to be talking to you from Scotland, right?
It's Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland. Oh, sorry. I always screw it up. But like, near you, whatever. I got it wrong. Yeah, so it's like we've been podcasting since 2018. We talk to bands all over the world, and it's pretty cool to be able to do this within modern technology. One of the things we want to be able to do, and we're going to do in a second, is we're actually going to introduce the world to your band by playing one of your videos. And then we're going to talk about all the questions we sent you and stuff. But we like to introduce the audience to your music at the beginning so they get an idea of who you are. So we're going to actually cue that up. You can see we're going to be going to your song, Standpoint, to your band is Standpoint to the Sun. Song is Forced and Obey. It's off your YouTube. We got a little hyperlink down there. It's not clickable, but people can figure out where it is. And we're getting ready to go play it. And then we'll put you on mute and then we'll come back, okay?
No problem. No problem.
All right. So that is Standpoint to the Sun and Force to Obey, and we're back together again. And yeah, that's a cool sound. You kind of have reminded me of like Alice in Chains a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is
I'll
that
take
kind of
that.
like the kind of sound you're going for?
Uh, Very grungy.
Yeah, like a Seattle sub pop.
Yeah, do something different than what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, because today, we're in the age of like the non-rock band, like the
It's true.
band in a box.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
and
that.
I even like, I'm an electronic musician, and sometimes people get me confused with DJs.
Yeah,
And if
I can
everybody
see that.
sees, behind me, I've got all my Moogs, and that's
Lethal.
I have tons of Moogs, and it's like that's not a box, that's a board, one of the better boards you can have. Um,
Deadly, man.
so, so like what's cool is like that you guys are still kind of doing what I grew up on, like Zeppelin. I grew up on like listening to Allman Brothers, you know, being really heavy into Hendrix and Eric Clapton, and then getting into maybe bands like the Ramones or the Replacements, or like Joy Divisions, people like that. Maybe Depeche Mode. So I'm a keyboardist, right? So I when the new wave happened, I like Bowie, I like Ziggy, I like all that stuff. Like anybody's doing something cool, that's cool. But
Those
you
are all
know,
my bands. I love all them
yeah, but it's
bands.
like these kind of guys, like kind of phoning it in, jumping it up and down on a CDJ is like I'm not into that. But but what's cool about you guys? So you guys, I don't know how to say your town. Is it Dungannon
Yeah, that's it.
and
That's it. Dungannon.
Tyrone? Is it
Yeah,
Tyrone?
Tyrone.
Ty-
Tyrone. Tyrone. County
Tyrone
Tyrone.
Ireland.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know your country. I don't know to know how to like not mess it
I
up.
don't know. That's okay. I'm representing as well, as you can see here.
Yeah,
Dungannon
yeah,
United Youth Football Club.
that's cool.
Give back to the youth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you guys are into that football. It's not our football.
No.
Our football is kind of crazy. Everybody's like just flopping their heads.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
but like so, your debut album was Wicked Beast. It was released in the summer of 2019,
I was
and
indeed, sir. Yeah.
yeah, so you took like 2 years to do that. Right now, you're in the middle of working on like a brand new album called Silent Echo, right?
Oh, it's already finished.
Oh, cool. So it's done.
Yeah, we're
Um,
just waiting for it to come back.
are you just waiting for? Are you waiting to be able to tour to put it out?
We'd love to sort out a tour, depending on what the circumstances, of course, with this COVID
Hmm.
but we're ready to rock. You know what I mean? We'll
Yeah.
gig tomorrow. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I
Eager.
mean, because I can't, gig in the US right now, not but sometimes people are doing it in some places, but I've got like this online festival that I'm doing in July
That's
for like
deadly.
3 days with like all the guests that have been on the program um since 2016. Well, not all of them. We got maybe 20 of 60 guests.
That's
We're
deadly.
gonna go like on July 16, 17, and 18, and we
Get
still
out.
got spots. So if you guys could play, we'll talk to you about that after. But the
I
whole
will. I
thing
will.
was that we have to have you on the show first, and then we'll talk to you about it. But
That's
yeah.
cool.
So yeah, yeah. So we're trying to help people out because like I used to go to New York in 2016, 2017 and play, because live music, is like bands like you guys, is kind of where it's at. I want to see a band with a drummer and a bass player and a guitar player or keyboard. So I want to see them like jam out because that's what I want,
Big time.
because like I said, I grew up going to see, like I saw the Allman, I saw the Who, you know,
No way. You
and
saw the Who?
oh
Were
yeah,
they?
I saw the Who a bunch of times. I saw Who when Entwistle was still alive. Kenny Jones was on the drums. They were doing like Quadrophenia all the way through,
Get out.
and
That's amazing.
it was amazing. I saw him like at Patriot Stadium in Massachusetts. The New England Patriots. They played in that big stadium, and as soon as I got there, they were running through Tommy, and they were jamming out. And then they went into like Quadrophenia, and I was like totally in heaven.
You
'Cause,
lucky
like,
man.
yeah,
Wow.
I totally. I wish I had been able to see him with Moon, because
Oh,
Moon the Loon, Moon's the
yeah.
best. Like lead drummer. The lead drummer, but
He was mad, but he was the best,
oh, he's the
big time.
best. But yeah, let me get into like your whole band. Like I start from the beginning. So
Okay.
when did you first get into music? At what age? You want to talk about like how you got into it?
Okay, so when I was 8 years old, got into Elvis Presley. So that
Cool.
was me into Elvis, and then my granddad was really big into Queen and Status Quo.
Cool.
So I just listened to all them, and then I used to, because I'm originally from Wales. So
Hmm.
when we came over to Northern Ireland, I got in with a couple of the, you could say, rocker grunger dudes,
Hmm.
and that's when my love for like Guns N' Roses, Led Zeppelin,
Yeah.
the Ramones, the Clash,
Love.
Roxy Music, Depeche Mode. My God, literally my whole library is full. Red Hot Chili Peppers, naming them all. It just blew my mind. And then it was like I was only 13. I never
Hmm.
sang. I've never had a singing lesson.
Hmm.
Didn't know how to play guitar. That's when I met the drummer, Mick. I think you've already met.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we started a band called Feedbacks, and
Cool.
we went a whole year just practicing. And then we did a gig around when we were like 14, 15 in this place called The Fort. And we did
Hmm.
White Stripes, Seven Nation Army, and the Subways song. I can't remember what song it was, but it was pretty awesome. And it was
Well,
good
yeah, I
to
think
gig
that
young.
I think that's really cool because, a lot of people, my generation, I'm in 53. Everybody started because of the Beatles, right? Everybody's like, "Oh, the Beatles, like I gotta do make a band because like now I see what you can do," right?
Yeah,
And then it's like, by the time I was in my a teenager, like what happened was like you had all these progressive rock bands like Pink Floyd and Zeppelin and stuff started getting into synths and stuff. And then
big
you
time,
have this rebellion where you had like the Clash and the Sex Pistols. And then
big
I was
time.
like, that's cool because I like the punk aesthetic. Like when I started to learn to play, I actually was like mirroring the Clash and Joy Division and the
Yeah,
Ramones and like all these bands in New York at CBGBs. Like
you
and
always
I
go through that phase,
yeah,
big
because
time.
I was into Lou Reed. Like I kind of got into the Velvet Underground and I like was
Amazing.
listening to like White Light, White Heat and I was listening to like the first album and I was like, that's really cool to have have this poet. He's not Dylan, but he doesn't care, and he's just saying whatever he wants to say. He's not talking
That's
about
true.
love songs, talking about like down and dirty in New York.
Yeah,
And
real
I'm
life,
like,
yeah,
yeah, and I was like, that's phenomenal. And that got me into it. I was like playing like heroin and waiting for the man and all this stuff. And
my favorite tunes. Love
yeah,
them
I was
songs.
just like, so I think it's cool that you guys like it's great for people to get into music that don't know how to play. I
Big
think it
time.
brings a better energy because you're passionate about it because you wanna do it, right? You
Completely.
just love it so much, you're a fan, and then you're like, "Boom, I wanna do it."
That's
So
so true.
yeah, so let me get
It's
into
like the Tom Petty song, running after a dream.
oh, yeah. I
You're
mean,
always
because
running for it.
totally. I mean, because you guys been working on the music right when you guys got excited by it, right? So you were into all these bands, and then
Oh
you
yeah.
decided to pick up the instruments and do it yourself. So how long has it been that you've been working on music?
Would have been a good 13, 13 years, 14 years. Yeah,
Now
14.
so when did you actually decide that you wanna write your own song? Like, because there are people who, like, become cover bands or they go in and become studio musicians. When did you say, like, "I wanna write my own song"? Was, like, right from the beginning, or did you kinda, transition into that after you kind of did, like, the bar bands and stuff?
Well, when I started and we tried to write some original songs, but our original songs, we actually recorded one song, but it was a very Pearl Jam rip-off song.
Mhm.
It was really bad. It was so bad it near made us quit. But we were just like, sure, we'll just keep on going. You know, sadly that band did end because of
Yeah.
that song. So but then we came back, and it would have been when I was 21. So we're talking maybe a good 6, 7 years ago. We
Mhm.
came back and we started Standpoint to the Sun. And that was, that was just me and the guitar player at the time, Garrett Donaghy, we called the G. We ended up getting a Tascam, a DP-24 multi-track recorder,
Awesome.
and
That's like
lethal.
I recommend that to anybody. I started off with a 4 tracker in, like,
Yes, my man.
1979.
Oh
Because
wow,
like, I just, like there was no DAW back then, so you had to have a Fostex or a Tascam 4 or 8.
big time.
And even to this day, I use hardware recorders, I don't use DAWs
No way.
because I everything I do goes into, like, Zoom R24s.
Lethal,
or
lethal.
Tascam 20s, and because I just like being able to do stuff right at the instrument,
Yeah,
you
oh,
know?
they're so good. I would definitely recommend if anybody wants to start writing their own songs and
Oh,
recording,
yeah,
get a Tascam. Get a
yeah,
Tascam.
it's just like the best thing. And now, like your band name, can you explain like where did you get that from like a book or is that where did you get the idea for the band name?
So funny enough, we were in my bedroom, me and the guitar player, and we were just throwing around band names. Mind you, we were, smoking up a bit. This was you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
And we were
know.
smoking a lot.
I'm into Pink Floyd. I mean, I know.
Yes. I kind of came up with the name Standpoint the Sun because we were in a band called Dodging Scarlet,
Mhm.
and I liked the name Scarlet, so I wanted something with an S.
Mhm.
So it just kind of came like out of nowhere like that. Just weird how it just came. Standpoint the Sun.
It seems like it's like a science fiction type of reference. It just sounds like it came from like Isaac Asimov or Ray Bradbury. It has this kind of like like you know, it's got that kind of
Exactly.
Twilight Zone, Rod Serling kind of feel to it.
It really it hits you the name like it's a pro just a, it's such a good name like it was
Yeah.
just
Like,
off the
you
cuff
use
like
that for a science fiction story, somebody's gonna want to grab it from you.
I I
Hey,
w- I w- I wouldn't be surprised like we'll take a bit of money like
yeah, 'cause that's a great name because like 'cause I can
thank
get
you
all
sir
these ideas like Dune and like,
yeah
2001 or like some
yeah
kind of like Star Trek thing, and like I can like boom, I like it just seems like, oh yeah, it's cool as hell. Um, so so then you guys it was 2 of you,
yeah.
and then how did you get the rest of the band?
See the bass player, Cripster, he was already in the band with us after feedbacks. So we knew him growing up and he'd already been playing the bass. So we just thought, hey mate, are you interested? He was in a band at the time called Hydrogen Jukebox. So
Mhm,
luckily he wasn't too difficult to recruit. And then
mhm.
that's when we got the drummer, Mick, Mickey Sheehan. And he's literally, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that man in terms of his recording setup. He's the mastermind behind all our sound, really. And
Oh, so
that,
he's like your recording engineer,
yeah,
your
completely.
producer, like that's how you get your things done?
Literally, he's not only the drummer, he's the guitar player, he's the extra guitar player, he's the keyboardist.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can't speak
So
highly
he's
about that
kinda
man.
like your 5th Beatle.
Yeah, oh,
He's like
completely.
your George Martin.
That's him. Like that's definitely him. But no,
That's
we wouldn't
cool.
be here, if it wasn't for him and his passion, like because he
Well, every
brought a lot
band
of
should
passion
have
to it.
that, because then you don't have to, like, pay the studio all the money.
We've saved so much money. We are
Yeah.
so lucky in that regard. Like we've spent hardly nothing. You know,
Well, it's funny because like, the last year, I've been talking to bands, and bands have decided because of COVID in the US, like, they couldn't get to the studio.
yeah.
So a lot of the bands is like, "Oh, man, maybe I'll go find one of those Tascams. I'll go learn how to use the DAW."
Oh,
And,
there are. Do it.
and then they've been doubling down. I mean, I would say like 50% of the bands I talked to in the last year have like, I gotta learn how to do this. I gotta learn how to be a little bit of a recording engineer
See,
because like I want to keep my work going.
the funny thing about that, mate, is that I actually was hoping a good, I was a good 6 years ago to hope to actually get into a music course to learn how to produce.
Mhm.
Sadly, I wasn't even good enough to even sing myself onto the course. So there was no chance. I got completely rejected. But it's
That's
like one of them things, you got to keep on going and try and prove people wrong. Like,
but I just was like I was never a singer. I'm a keyboardist, and I just used to go to Guitar Center and beg the
deadly.
guys to let me buy stuff on payment plan. And
That's deadly.
it's like, "I'm good for it, man. I got a job. I'll show you." And it's like then I would get like, I'll get a mixer board, get
Like, ah,
effect pedals. I just bought it over time, since I was 17. I like
that's
took
amazing.
all my money and just bought gear. And
I,
and I just said, and I just learned how to use it because I was like, okay, if I own it, I can figure it out.
That's true. That's true, mate. That's so true. And literally, your passion shown through to get that done. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of will to even go up there and even push for it. Like,
Oh yeah, because
phenomenal,
back then they
phenomenal.
didn't have like this like all these Sweetwater and it's just like 78, 79. So you come in, you see these profits, you see the Les Pauls, you see all this stuff, and it's like $1,000, $2,000, $500, and it's like, well, how am I going to get that? And then I just said, hey man, I'm coming in here every day. You going to help me out? And the guy is like, he had pity on me, and he was like, "Okay, you better be good for it. I know where you live." 'Cause he actually lived in my neighborhood, so he's like, he knew I was into it,
Legend, legend.
yeah. So you talked about your influences that you were like Guns N' Roses, like grunge. You said the Depeche Mode. You like rock. Everything. So I kind of what's cool is you've got that kind of alternative. What I like about grunge is it's not just like Kurt Cobain, right? If
Yeah,
you think about what happened with grunge, you got bands like Soundgarden and Alice in Chains,
that's
right?
true.
You got bands like Smashing Pumpkins. I mean, Smashing
Deadly.
Pumpkins is more like Yes,
That's
or,
true. Yeah,
it's or more like Rush. He's like so the
good
cool
band.
thing about grunge was that there was like a little bit of progressive rock in grunge, so you didn't just have to be punk. You didn't have to be like just a Ramon. You could put psychedelic into it. You could put, some
Exactly.
progressive rock. So do you guys like you like the idea of like being an alternative rock band because it gives you like a wider berth, not just like heavy metal. You can go like in different directions.
You've hit it right on the head. Like going under the genre of alternative rock means that we can cover vast majority of different kind of sounds and music, which is it's helped us a lot because if you listen to the first album compared to the EPs that we released, because
Hmm.
we released during I would have been at the beginning of lockdown. We released Tokyo Dreams, which was very melodic and kind of depressing.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then recently we released
Dang.
Fallen Moon, which was very kind of hard rocking, kind of U2, maybe you
Yeah,
could say.
yeah.
And then now this new album is more of we kind of want to smash things and bust the
Like, I
establishment,
got a question because you're from like U2's, not exactly where they're from, but
that
does
close.
everybody think that like all the Irish bands should know like U2 songs?
If you go on nights out, a lot of people do want U2 covers.
Yeah.
They'll want Desire or something, you know what I mean? Or
Yeah, and I'm wondering how much pressure you guys get to have to know their song.
I would happily do Desire. I love that song.
Okay, you
Or
like 'cause some people like today, some of them are kinda like very anti U2. I mean, I grew up liking I love Boy, I love
same
War. I love the Brian Eno, like, Unforgettable Fire.
legend. Oh, amazing.
Because I'm a Eno guy. I was into his Bowie stuff, right? And
Best
I just
times.
like the idea, like, you go up on a chalkboard and, like, throw chords up on the chalkboard and kinda fuck with the studio
Yeah.
musicians and, like, you guys, like, you need to, like, think out the box. It's like, we're gonna do, like, discordant stuff. And the studio musician's like, "What?" He's like, "No." He's like, "What are you doing? They're putting all these things together are totally discordant." It's like, "I have the big picture. I know what it's gonna be, right?" And it you gotta, like, trust a guy like that 'cause he's,
Oh, you
like,
do.
thinking, like, way ahead of where you should be.
He's already pre-planned it, like, you know what I mean? Just follow him. Follow his
But yeah,
instructions.
'cause you take any album he does, right? It doesn't sound like anything in anybody's catalog. Unforgettable Fire doesn't sound like anything else in U2's catalog.
Exactly. Exactly.
Totally
He's a
different. He did
genius.
yeah, he didn't, like, wreck the band, he just gave him but he did it to Dylan. I mean, he went and did something with Dylan, and it doesn't sound like anything Dylan ever did. And I was like,
So
"Wow,
true.
that's freaking crazy." He's like, he just adds to any artist he touches, but, yeah, it's like this cool to be in this kind of zone, I think, today where you can bring in, like, everything that rock started. You talk about Elvis, right? Elvis kinda got you into it.
Yeah,
Right, and then you got into, like, the Guns N' Roses and the kind of punk, and everybody, like, learned from the Beatle chords, the
it's true.
idea that you can be a little bit more expansive in your choice of what you do, um, but it's like, yeah, I think today, some people one thing I don't like is they get, like, narrow, right? And then they say, "You're only heavy metal."
Yeah,
Like, you're only grunge. You're like, you can't do anything else. Like, if you wanted to have some EDM DJ do a song with you, or if you want some hip hop guy to kind of come on, or some guy sound
so
like
true.
Johnny Cash do something with you, no, you can't do that. You're crossing lanes, you
Yeah,
know?
that's so true. You're completely pigeonholed as that kind of band. It's
Yeah.
terrible, in my opinion.
I just think, yeah, to be able to know that you guys just talked about, like, you had so many different colors in your album sound. And maybe do you find that like managers don't know how to book you, don't know how to pitch where you're gonna go when you do that? Do you get run into a problem?
That's exactly it. Like, nobody knows how to manage us. That's all,
Yeah,
that's my opinion anyway.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
probably too crazy, like,
Yeah, well,
you don't want to see us behind this, you know what I
you
mean?
could
We're
have the,
mad,
like,
like.
the replacement problem, like, where you're just too hard to handle because like, you can't get to the gig without falling apart.
That's my life. That's my life, mate. You know what I mean? We are known for smashing up stuff, smashing up arenas,
Oh, like
gig
early who?
places.
Like being like Moon in the Holiday Inn in '75.
Yeah, that's my life.
Like, take that car and put it into the pool. Put the rolls into the pool. Well, maybe put the Yugo into the pool, but, but, uh but,
Create the legacy, man. You know what I mean? You got to be
yeah.
a legend, like.
Yeah, it's, like, crazy because like, I have to run into so many kids that say they're a musician, and I said, "What's the deal?" And they're like, they show me their SD card. I'm like, "That's being a musician? Really?
No.
Like, you show me
Crazy.
your SD cards, like, I'm showing you my freaking Hammond B3. Like, what's the deal?"
Oh my God.
But, yeah, not to put them down, but I mean, I know everybody doesn't have room or a big board or to have a Les Paul or have a Marshall stack, to
Yeah,
do what you need to do,
that's so true.
or but to me, it's like it's part of the sacrifice of being
Oh,
a
definitely.
musician. It's like you take that time, you buy that Les Paul, you buy the Fender, you buy a Rickenbacker, right? You get your amps, you do the stuff. And I
Yeah,
started off being like a punk band, you know,
lethal. Oh, that's
and
amazing.
it's like then I got into keyboards because like I saw Joy Division, and
Yes.
I'm like Ian Curtis. I was like, that is freaking awesome. I just like his kind of deadpan, kind of weirdness. He was like the
His
first
dancing
new.
is amazing as well.
Yeah,
His
I was just he
dancing.
was like the first new wave guy, and he had this kind of like, man, it's like that's I just got so into that. And I was so disappointed when he like I heard them before he died,
No
and I
way.
was so psyched that they were coming to the US. And it's
Oh,
like then I heard that, he died, and it freaked me out. But then New Order was cool. I like New Order,
yeah.
but there's something about Joy Division that had a punk edge.
Oh, they had
Yeah,
just an image, and the sound was just
yeah,
so, oh, off the
yeah.
charts. It was phenomenal.
I still listen to those 2 albums, the 2 records
Same.
they did. I listen to 'em all the time because like, a lot of what I do is coming from that zone, you know?
That's amazing.
But, so you guys you got this new album,
Mhm.
and I kinda wanna know is, like, where you headed on the new record? How much can you tell me about what you're doing?
Of course. Back in February, sadly, my nan passed away.
Mm,
So I was in a bit of a dark place. So on the record, to be honest with you, it's possibly the darkest album we've made in
mm,
terms of lyrics. And I don't mean to offend anybody by any of the words that I'm saying.
mm.
My kind of lyric writing process is a bit strange where I won't pre-plan and write lyrics the days or weeks before. It's
Yeah.
more I like the kind of feel of it being in the moment.
Yeah, stream of
So
consciousness. Yeah, stream
yeah,
of consciousness is, like, my style all the way.
yes, mate. It's
Like,
amazing.
everything the Ghost does pretty much is, like, 2nd, 3rd take from a stream of consciousness thing. That's
Yes,
pretty much
yes.
what I do. I go back and listen to what I did, and I pick out was, "Okay, I'll do that." And it's like, I have to transcribe what I do. When a record company wants when the BMI wants my stuff, then I gotta go back and listen to it and type it because like, I didn't write it down. It's all I have to
It's
go back.
amazing.
Well, to me,
Like,
it's like I grew up, listen watching, all these documentaries on the Beatles and Pink
same.
Floyd, and it's like, when the guys did it like that, that's what they did.
Exactly.
Maybe they had like Mick Jagger would write something down once in a while, but a lot of times it's like Dwayne Allman and Allman Brothers, that's all feel. A lot of that's
Exactly.
totally feel. I mean, and you really get into like the blues guys, like Lead Belly and you know, uh, all the great Robert Johnson, that's all total feel. I mean, blues is like you get the guy like Stevie Ray Vaughan that figured it out. Texas blues, those guys, man, they don't write nothing down. Everything's like feel. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Go to New Orleans, everything it's all feel. I mean, that's kind of what
it's
it is.
motivational as well, you know what I mean? Like, if you hear that, you're like, "Wow, anybody can make it," and make
Yeah,
music, like.
because like you think about most African Americans, they couldn't read G music, right?
That's
All the
true.
blues guys. They couldn't sight read. They didn't write it down. They put it on tape, it's legit. I mean, you check all the jazz guys, check all the great blues guys, all the great R&B guys. All of it is real. I mean, even the Motown stuff, a lot of it's all feel.
Exactly.
It's some of the best stuff that you ever heard, is they're not technically, maybe they didn't learn at some, like, big stodgy place, but, I
Exactly.
mean, look at Hendrix. Hendrix couldn't sight read. It's all feel.
And he's a genius. You know what I mean? One of the
Oh,
best. One of the
yeah.
best.
Yeah, so, I mean, I always try to tell people, like, "You really? Like, what about Hendrix?" It's like, "Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you forgot about that. Yeah, forgot." But, so, yeah, let me so the new album is kinda that darkness, and you do a stream of consciousness, where I'm totally down in for that.
Yes.
I love
Yes, my
that,
mom.
um, because I think what I like about it is authentic. It's
Exactly.
kinda like, you think about, like, why did people like Nirvana? Why did people like Sub Pop artists, right, from Seattle? Because they had been this kind of manufactured heavy metal and MTV age that came out of the new wave, and then, the corporate rock people got in, and they started, like, controlling things, and it
Exactly.
got contrived, and what Kurt brought was, like, that raw honesty of a guy that said, "I don't give a F. I'm just gonna do what I feel, what's inside me," and it just made people feel like, "Wow, rock, you can believe in it again."
Exactly. That's where we're coming from with this. It was complete. We don't really care what people think about us, and let's just have fun. We're not going to be around forever, so let's just give it one last shot, and
Yeah,
whatever
I think
happens,
that
happens.
that energy is exactly what rock needs. I mean, we need more of what you're doing than the
Thank you, sir.
contrived, backing vocal, like, running like a PC to have a rock band that has to have a PC to go on stage. You know, it's like, I was like, "You gotta have a PC to go on stage. What's up with that?"
Exactly.
You know
Exactly.
I
Oh,
understand that people like that, but my whole thing is, like, why can't you just play it free? You know
it's
you
it's a
know?
mad time, like, but you're so right though. It's be free, be original, like,
Yeah,
It's
well, you
it's
don't wanna get locked in. Like, how fun is it every night to have to play to the backing track?
I know. I know. I've done it back in the day, and
Not
it's not for
fun.
me, like,
It's mind numbing.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's depressing, like, very
I
depressing as
don't know
well.
how you can have fun doing that, you know? I know you could get paid doing that, but
Yeah, it's not always about the money, but I know I do see where people do come from, and I couldn't do it. Don't want to
yeah.
sell out like that.
No, because the old school was like, you had to know it like a James Brown band, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
you had to know it like Funkadelic. You had to know it like the Almonds. It's like they know it because they live it.
that's
You
true.
know,
That's true. Those
you
are the
know?
times, like those are the role models. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
that's
like
the
the
thing with
Dead.
music now.
Yeah, you think
Exactly.
about the Dead. They used to do 6-hour concerts like in Asbury Park. I mean, out in San Francisco. They
Yeah,
go 6 hours, just jamming. They didn't care. 30-minute songs. They just blew it out because that's what it was. I kind of grew up with that aesthetic of the hippie kind of thing. It's like, just go out there and jam for the people. You just do.
it's true. It's true.
Why
We've
not?
lost that now. I think we've definitely
Yeah,
lost
well,
that.
everybody wants to go and do something that's like the thing I don't like. Well, I understand punk music can have a 2-minute song, like the Ramones have
Mm,
2-minute songs.
that's true.
But what
Classic.
I don't like is kind of this modern, what's that doggy in a window stuff going on today with these songs. They're kind of nonsensical, and it's nobody can do anything more than 2.5 minutes.
Right.
And
It's
it's like why can't you have something like your 5-minute song, right? That is
yeah.
like there's so many people that say, oh, you can't go over 4 minutes.
Yeah,
Like
we've been told that. Yeah.
all my Ghost stuff, some of my stuff's like 9, 12, 15 minutes. I
That's
like
my
I like
man.
Genesis, like the Peter
Oh,
Gabriel Genesis,
legend.
the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway Genesis. That not the like We Can't Dance, We Can't Dance Genesis. I'm more into like Peter Gabriel wearing all those costumes and doing
Yes,
all this
mate.
crazy shit.
That's I get down with that, my man. Like that was when I was younger watching his like the documentary on Genesis. Wow.
Yeah.
He was
I mean,
amazing. Like
Yeah, when you think about it, when they had the full band, all 5 of them, right? And they had not the 3 of them, but, like, you had Gabriel and you had the guitar player, I always forget his name. He was brilliant. And you
Yeah,
had all these rock operas, all
yeah.
this
Free
crazy
Frog.
science
Yeah,
fiction stuff that Peter Gabriel was famous for. And it's just like his aesthetic was, he's mixing all this science fiction with, like, this, like, English literature
that's true.
and a lot of things that are, like, very, like, into, like, stuff that's going on in London or
Oh,
stuff that's
completely.
going on in Europe that you would have to kinda know a little bit
Yeah.
about to understand, kinda like Ray Davies from the Kinks. Like, he was
Yes, mate.
really into making things that are very English, right?
Big
So
time.
you kinda have to know what he's talking about to understand the references, but it's
You
like,
really,
I like music. And
that's
I'm an
good.
American black guy, but I love Ray Davis. I like what Peter Gabriel was doing because I like music. And if somebody, like, does something kick ass, I don't care. I don't
Yeah.
care where it is, you know?
Same here, man. Same here. Same
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Because so you guys so when you have your managers and stuff, and you have to kind of be more creative than them to figure out how to get your stuff out?
Exactly. Like, to be honest, like, we're practically our own managers. We don't
Yeah,
have a manager, which is
yeah,
it's good, but at the same time, it's difficult because you got to put so much work in terms of your own promotion, and there's so much. Well, you know about it yourself. It's not easy, especially if you're trying to do it on a small budget, like
yeah.
middle school budget, like you know. But hopefully, it's more of the hard work you put in. Hopefully, we'll see a return and maybe get some opportunities down the line.
Yeah, well, we wanna let you guys, if you guys can do a web type of performance, we will definitely invite you to our festival, because
I
we're
wouldn't say
playing
no.
from the July 16th to the 18th. The 16th like a Friday night, so that's kinda booked up, but the 17th and the 18th, we still have, like, morning, like, time. We still have, like, some we'll talk about it after, but
Thank
yeah,
you.
I mean, we would
Thank
love, and we've got different options because, some bands, they can't get it together, right? So, like, if you guys put a video of you guys playing,
you.
some of our bands are sending us MP4s of a performance, like, in a garage, really
Okay.
tight, like
Yeah,
20 we if you do, like, a 30-minute performance that you jamming out and you film it and you give us the MPEG, we can run that. But if you wanna do it live and you can give us a good audio and video, we'll run that live,
that's
and it
amazing. Yeah,
depends on what you can do. So if you guys can get your feed from your soundboard into the web, like, on this thing, like the way we're talking now, and you can get a live feed of your band and the drums and everything coming through, then you guys can play.
I wouldn't say no. I'm up for it. Let's get it
Cool.
sorted. Let's make it
Yeah, well,
happen.
we'll do that. So you guys are gonna be on the Peg Festival on either the 17th or 18th of July.
We're
So
gonna
that
be
gives
on.
you a place to play, man.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thank
well, I
you, my
want
man.
that's my whole thing is, like, everybody that's putting their heart into what they're doing should be heard and seen,
Yeah.
right? And that's
No, I
why I'm
do agree.
talking to you, because I believe in music, and I think, like, the energy. I talk like bands in Iceland, I talk to guys in Australia, guys in, like, France, like, anywhere, like, guys in freaking Tokyo,
Step.
because I don't really care, if
Exactly.
it's even if it's in a different language. If I hear, like, a Japanese rock band kicking ass, then I'm gonna put them on the show,
Get them
because
on.
like, because that's it, I don't really care. It's like, because,
Exactly.
like, you can feel it in what they're doing. It's like cross language. You get
No,
a
it's true.
Russian rock band, if they're kicking ass, they're kicking ass, I
Yeah.
don't really
No,
care.
you're really right. Exactly,
But,
man. What you feel it, you feel it. I mean, it's an energy and it goes through your body like a vibration and it's magic. Like that's what music. It's phenomenal. Saves your
yeah,
life. Saves your
yeah,
life.
yeah,
Changes your mood
because,
and
like,
everything.
I mean, I have to do my boring 9 to 5, my, or 8 to 4, whatever, um, so I can buy my Moogs, and I
Yeah,
can buy my Rolands, and I can buy all my gear, so I can do what I wanna do,
it's true.
but, like, I live till, like, 5 o'clock, and then I go to my practice room, and I play all my stuff, right? Or I go
Exactly right.
jam out and work with somebody, because, like, that's what we gotta do.
That's
In
true.
this kinda indie world, people got their day gig, and then they go do what they really wanna do,
It's true,
which
my
is,
man.
like, jam to music.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It does take you away from um, the bore of everyday life. Even just picking up your instrument, making a song, you feel so in the moment compared to like me. I know rightly so with a 9 to 5, and I've done a lot of coaching and a lot of jobs, car washes, and you
Mm,
could name it, factory
yeah,
work, and it's been depressing most of the time.
yeah.
But see when you
I
get
was
home
an
and
Uber. I was an Uber,
you're an Uber.
but
Were you an
then
Uber?
I was an Uber Lyft. I was doing both at the same time.
Oh
Um,
man,
and then
respect.
I got hit, right? And then I was like, but I was also I'm an IT guy, so I'm a programmer, right? So I was Uber lifting because I wanted to buy more gear. So I was like doing
I
my
agree.
my my I was crazy. I had like 4 jobs, right? So I'm doing my IT job, then I go do Lyft and Uber, and then I'm doing my music. So I'm doing like and my podcasting. So I'm like doing all this because like, like I gotta get paid to get the gear. So
Exactly.
I can do what I want to do. But
That's
yeah, I think
inspirational as well. You know what I mean? It's inspirational. You know,
yeah, well now I couldn't do the Uber stuff no more because like it was too crazy in the US with the
I can
COVID. You
imagine.
could like you could drop. So I end up just doing like IT stuff.
Yeah.
And then this podcast like took off during COVID because like all these bands were like, what are we gonna do? And then I keep on finding guys to interview, right?
You're a
Because
hero.
they want to
Hero.
push out, you know, they
Thank
want to
you,
push
bro.
out their Spotify, song, their singles. Everybody's trying to put out as many singles as they can.
It's true.
So that kind of goes toward like I think you guys are like an album oriented type of guys, right? You guys want to do albums, but you have to do singles in this market, right?
It's true. It's the truth. It's the truth. Yeah. You've hit it on the head.
But
We
but
look, we
you're
want to do albums, but
yeah.
more, the singles have to come.
So for the new record, are you guys gotten like a single strategy where you're gonna run a single like every month or every couple of weeks and then do the album, put the album out?
We've released 2 singles so far, and we're going to release another 3 to 4,
Hmm.
potentially another 3 before releasing the 10-song album.
Yeah.
But that's included a potential collaboration as well that could potentially make it onto the album as well, depending.
Oh, so
Uh,
you got an extra song that might pop on if you get
yeah,
this done. But
yeah,
maybe yeah, because that's kind of like the way the world is. Because I see a lot of one thing is like a couple of years ago when I first started in 2018, it was like all playlists, right? And then EPs started creeping back.
that's true.
People
Yeah,
started doing EPs, so EPs are kind of back. People want to at least give people something, and then albums have crept back because of the COVID. I think people actually have time now to think about listening to a full record.
yeah. No, I couldn't
Which
say it better myself.
And I think it's like to me, even being a child of the '70s, I was the guy I go to Strawberry Record Store at the mall and I go read Rolling Stone the night before, and everything that's 4 stars or 5 stars, I take all the extra money I got, I buy all the 4 and 5-star records that Rolling Stone said that were there, and I didn't care what genre. I was buying funk,
Amazing.
I was buying rock, I was buying punk, I was buying whatever. If it got 4 or 5 stars, because I did, like, college radio and stuff, so it was like I
Yeah.
wanted to listen to, like, everything so I could actually know what I'm talking about.
No, of course. You are rightly, that's an amazing strategy as well. You got to be in the know and
Yeah.
brilliant.
'Cause it's like you gotta you can't just listen to 30 seconds of people's work
Yeah,
and say that you like it or not. To me,
that's true.
I'll listen to the whole project because like I wanna get more than one song because I wanna see the breadth of what the band can do, you know?
That's the way. Like that's what you got to do. Like, definitely, I completely agree with you
Because
there.
it's not representative of a band. If you think about most bands, like they're one song, they're trying to get that one song and they think that's what people want. But me, I like deeper tracks, and the artist I'm into, I always like the songs that weren't single,
That's
'cause it
yeah,
makes
that's
me
my
understand who
conversation.
they are.
Yeah. No, you're bloody right. You're bloody right, my man. And that's exactly the same with me. Say for example, there's a band I'm listening to, and I'll listen to their whole album, and it'll be probably the most unknown song that they've got hits me the most, and
Yeah,
it's a
because I think
gem.
that's where you take the most risk is with the song you don't think is gonna be the hit, then you can be more experimental,
Yeah,
and you can kinda be more as a writer, you'll do things that maybe in the other thing you edit yourself, right?
yeah.
The
Oh,
single is always kinda like it's like edited to hit a certain demographic, and
Yeah.
it's like what you think everybody wants, you know,
Yeah.
versus like what you really are. It's kind of like when you see a band live,
Mhm.
right? And you see you actually play, like, it's like then you really get the feel of a band.
That's
Then
true.
you know,
That's
like,
true.
damn, these guys are like, these guys are like the Dead. These guys are like Kiss, or they're like, you get the feel. He's like, what do they sound like? Well, they're like a Kiss, or they're like a Aerosmith, or they're pulling like the Clash. He's like, you can get the feel
Yeah.
and the energy, but one song you're kind of like, okay, well, yeah, it's like you're going to the job interview and you're trying to fake the boss out.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, man. That's true. Couldn't agree
Like,
more there. No, it's so
yeah.
true.
So you guys, when you play, what's your like favorite tracks to play? Like when you're doing a project, when you actually go play live, like it's like when you put your set list together, what kind of drives like your set list?
The main song would probably be off Wicked Beasts. It
Mhm.
would have probably been Mellow Minds for
That's the
me.
one you like to play the most. That's the one
Yeah,
you really feel.
hits it. That's the beat. Just gets me all, pumped and ready to kind of, give everything I got.
I like
Love
to
that
ask
song.
bands that because I like to understand like if I listen to your catalog, I want to get where your head's at, like
Of
in terms
course.
of what you like to do, you know.
Yeah.
'Cause fans, like, they'll want like maybe your biggest hit,
Yeah.
but like the
That's true.
artist is like what is the one you like to play?
It's true. It's like Kings of Leon back in the day, always getting told to play Sex on Fire. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
they ended up hating it. You know what I mean?
yeah. It's like I like it when bands are like obstinate and they're like, no, I'm not playing the big hit. I'm not doing. Well, maybe I'll play it like the last song.
Yeah.
The last
Yeah.
song, I'll be a total asshole. Like
Yeah.
I was like they're yelling all night, and I'm like, yeah, you want it, you want it. It's like, well, but just wait,
Right at the end.
just wait for it. Stay here and wait for it.
Encore, walk off, then come on and do
Yeah,
it.
and now would do it. Like after you've been here for like 45 minutes, you didn't leave. Now
Yeah.
would do it.
It's a weird one because see your most favorite song or the most popular, you weirdly don't want to play it as much. I don't know. It's just
I think
strange.
it ends up being where you end up wanting to phone it in. I think what happens is
Yeah.
like if you think about think about Leonard Skinner and like Freebird, right?
Or
You think
it's a
about
beat.
like the Eagles and like Hotel California. How many times did they play that? Right?
Ooh,
Like how can they be excited about it?
yeah, that's the truth.
It's after a while, like you can't be excited about it. Even like I go back and I listen to Hendrix doing Purple Haze, right? And there was a point where Hendrix stopped playing Purple Haze in his
I can
set
see. Yeah.
because he's like, I'm not doing it. I
Yeah.
just, I'm not doing it. And then luckily for him, he had, such an awesome catalog. By the time he got to like, Electric Ladyland, he didn't have to do it because he had something like Voodoo Child, and he had like all
It's a
these
beat.
freaking crazy songs off of Electric Lady. There were these big long things, right? And then he's like, "Fuck them,"
Music, yeah.
It's like I'm gonna do, and he's Hendrix, like I can do what I want.
It's true, like, yeah. And his music, I remember back in the day, Jimi Hendrix was one of them. I remember a mate of mine lent me his CD and it just blew my mind. You know what I mean? Every song was just took me to another place. And
It
I
kind of
wasn't
tells
even,
you, it tells you when you get a guy like he strings the guitar upside down because he's left-handed, and then he's using his thumb to hold chords and he can do like chords and melodies and stuff at the same time because of the way he can do. And then he had this really good ear for picking up like harmonics and picking up all kinds of strange, be able to call up all kinds of sounds off that guitar on demand, like not be an accident,
yeah,
but being
decoding
able,
it.
yeah, being able to control the sound. Like, as a synthesizer player, I looked at Hendrix. He's like one of the first like expansive kind of electronic artists because he's actually using all these effect pedals and stuff in the
Oh,
way that
definitely.
a synthesizer player does. And
Yeah.
so I always tell keyboard players like you gotta listen to Hendrix because the stuff he's doing, like on Electric Lady, is like there's stuff there that's like progressive rock.
Oh, completely.
Like
Completely.
stuff that Keith Emerson, does, or great like the guys from Genesis. There's stuff there that you had to like you gotta pay attention to.
Yeah. You're right. No, you're bloody right. couldn't say it a bit better myself, because especially if if you're looking at the younger generation and you want to get them behind a role model, get them behind Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah,
Tell
just
them that, man.
the ability to write the lyrics. I mean, if you listen to Hendrix's lyrics, they're poetry. I mean,
Castles made a sound amazing.
yeah, I mean his lyrical content, because he was enamored with Bob Dylan, right?
Hmm.
He loved Dylan, so he's looking to like one of the best writers in rock, right?
That's
And
true.
so he's like one of the best guitar players in the world, and then he's looking at one of the best lyricists in the world, and he's trying to make his poetry be in the same zone. So it's kind of like this aspiration, and he knew he wasn't Dylan, but there are some times that his stuff approaches like maybe even being better than Dylan in some cases.
Yeah,
And so you're like, just having the aspiration to try to do something at that level is really what's cool about Hendrix. Is like he is like is trying to cross over so many things, you
exactly.
know,
You know,
and
such a
that's
role model. Love the man. It's a
yeah.
shame.
So I think it's like I tell kids like it's people like sometimes African Americans like why do you like rock? And it's like you don't know Chuck Berry, you don't know Little Richard, you don't know Jimi Hendrix,
Oh man.
you don't know you don't know Bob Marley. What are you talking about? Like black people who invented rock. Like, so how could when you tell me like I'm trying to be something else? Like we freaking Lead Belly, Robert Johnson. What are you talking about? It's like
Oh man.
it's not selling out to play rock. We created
Yeah.
rock.
Yeah, that's the truth, my man. That's the truth.
So like I totally am into like all types of music because I think you shouldn't limit yourself.
No, you
But
can. Definitely.
it's just cool to be able to jam out with anybody. And I think what I like about the modern world is like I can talk to you in Ireland, right?
Yeah.
And then you guys can end up being on our concert. Um, and and then what I want to do with what this podcast is we've had people come on, right? And
Oh,
then they go back and watch an episode with some other band, and then they
oh,
end up working together
lethal. That's amazing.
because that's what you want. Is like so. I encourage anybody who watches this episode if they like your vibe and you guys are cool, they should talk to you.
Of
You know,
course.
you should talk.
Network and connect. Yeah.
Yeah, because the whole idea is they create a community through the net of artists,
Big
you
time.
know. And then when you play on that concert, you're gonna be able to see all these people who've been on my show, and then they'll see you, and then they'll see this episode, and I always encourage bands to cross collaborate with anything you dig, you know, and just don't be scared to Instagram that person, go
Exactly.
DM them and say, hey, I was on Peg,
No,
you
you're
were on
true.
Peg, I like what you're doing, maybe we can do something.
You got to do that. You got to smash down walls, mate, don't you? You got to do anything you can. Don't be afraid.
That's how you get on a stage, right? That's how you suddenly like I'm guesting on this person's project. They want my sound on theirs. You want to be on their, they come on mine,
Yeah.
and you give each other opportunities because like the labels are all kind of trying to control what everybody is. But if you kind of just kind of say, hey, I'm gonna go and talk to as many people as I can, or try to get my stuff out by just being, kind of like the hippies.
Yeah.
We used to go to those big collective dead concerts for 6 hours and watch that band for 6 hours. I mean, they had the patience
That's
to,
amazing.
to want to, and then in those 6 hour concerts, they would go and say, "Hey," in the crowd, if there were kids in the crowd that were into music, they'd let them come up on stage and play. And it's like, where is that kind of feeling now? It's like I would love to do something in New York in 2022, and if there are people that are musicians in the crowd and they have them come up on stage and do it
Yeah. No, you're bloody right.
because that's how you get people to find the new people.
Yep.
That's how you get the energy to know what's really going on.
I couldn't agree more. Just make sure they're not drunk. You know,
Oh yeah, you don't want to have
I've
a
done
shit
that.
show.
I remember doing that once.
Yeah, well, that's
Wasn't
kind
good.
of like sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It's like sometimes it's like okay, it's entertainment.
Yeah.
We might get a Keith Moon slumping over the drums.
Just don't do it 2 songs in. Don't do it there.
That's not a good idea, but,
No.
you might get, like, the replacements where they go like, they're so drunk they can't play, then they just
Yeah.
fall out. you
That's the
know.
truth.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of punk. You can say, hey man, that's punk. That's
Yeah,
you can use it, create a meme out of it.
that was the reason behind it, but it didn't come off well.
Well,
We ended
you
up
can
getting kicked out.
yeah, make a meme. You can sell it, and we're loving the first 15 seconds of it.
Yeah,
Put it on replay. It's like, hey,
yeah.
this is me. That's it. I'm
Oh
into it.
God, so true.
So you guys like, are you? Besides, like, I'm trying to give you this this opportunity to play. Are you guys getting opportunities in Ireland? Like, are there venues starting to say that you can play?
There's a couple of opportunities opening up in terms of playing local gigs,
Cool.
just to a small crowd of say 50 people, like Sex Pistols back in the day.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
which I'm down for.
Well,
Of
it's
course,
kind of
it's
intimate,
you know,
Cause
yeah.
I mean, I used to go to these New York clubs. There's like 300 people. Right?
Wow.
That's it. And and you say, why am I gonna go 5 hours drive? 4.5 hours to get to New York from like where I am to just be playing in front of 300 people. Well, because it's New York,
Exactly.
and,
Yeah,
and it's
I'd
like,
love to play.
yeah, if you play in New York and even if it's 200 people in this little bar, what's cool about New York is like there might be a guy from Rolling Stone in there, right?
Yeah.
There might be a
Oh, true.
spin guy from there. There might be a blogger in there. That's why
It's
you
like
go to New York because
yeah, it's like
you don't know.
Brian Jonestown Massacre. When they
Yeah,
used to
you
play
don't
in.
know who's in there.
Yeah.
New York compared to like where I am in like New Hampshire. Like,
Oh,
well, maybe the New Hampshire Gazette, some guys there. I don't know. But if you go play in New York, it's like some guy from Spins comes in, and I'm like, that's what you want.
yeah.
That's why you go.
That's what you want. Take that
Yeah,
risk, and
yeah.
it
You
may
go
pay off.
there. Like I went to New York one time, and there was a guy from a radio station. I didn't know he was there, and I went and did my ghost thing.
Ah,
And I come on stage. I got this LED thing, and
yes.
I got my Phantom mask,
Yes, my
and
man.
I come out there and I got a guy who was a smoke machine. He hit the smoke over me. I got my
Lethal.
LED mask and I'm kind of ripping it on my Moog, trying to make it like feedback. And the
I
guy
can
said, "What,
picture it.
man? What?" He's like, "I want you to come back and do this again." And I said, "Well, cool." And it's like I didn't know he was going to be there, but that's like I said, you got to sometimes you got to sacrifice and not even know if anybody's going to be there, just on the off chance. It's like, well, it's New York, so somebody's got to be there,
Yeah.
right? You know.
It's weird how sometimes it just falls into place. You know what I mean? Something just out of nowhere could happen and it ends up sealing you a great deal or a great opportunity. It's
Yeah,
phenomenal how the world
because you
works
just
like that.
gotta get seen, The cool thing about this podcast, like, people see you on this podcast, then other podcasters might call you up and
Yeah,
say,
that's
"Hey,
true.
I wanna have you come on," because like, last week, I did 2 podcasts where people were interviewing me
No
because,
way.
like, I always interview other people. So then
That's
they said,
amazing.
"Oh, I wanna interview the ghost." I said, "Okay, cool. I'll do that."
Exactly.
And so, you'd like and I would even suggest as a band, if you guys wanna do something different, because this is what I did, I'm a musician, and I said,
Yeah.
"Hey, why don't I go interview other musicians?" Right? So you
Yeah,
guys
no,
go
you've done
create
great.
your own podcast and you talk to people that you think need a shot, right? And then you'll be surprised how much stuff comes to you.
That's true. Law of attraction kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Help
because
others and
if you go help some other band, right? If you take an hour out of your day and you talk their stuff, then you pay it forward, right? And then somebody wants to talk about your stuff. And
mhm.
then more people want to talk to you because they saw that you talked to them. And then boom,
That's true.
after I did this started in 2018. I've talked to maybe 65 bands. I got about 32,000 people who have listened to me so far.
Oh,
I've
that's
got
amazing.
like influence marketing deals. Um, I got a distribution deal for my music. I got a bunch of stuff that happened that because I decided to take 2 hours out of my day to do it.
That's inspirational.
And I tell people like if you go help some other band, like even if you go play on somebody else's record, right? And you don't know if they're gonna pay you, but you say, okay, I work it out that
Yeah,
if you guys make money, I get paid, right? But
exactly.
you get your stuff out there. They get your sound out there. You do as much of that as you can because the more you get your stuff out in some way, somehow, you're bound to get people to pay attention to you.
Exactly. No, you're bloody right, bro. You're bloody right. And if, even for us, I'll say it's not about the money. We've earned hardly no money. I'll be
Yeah,
honest with you.
that's
It's not
typical.
easy,
That's
but
normal.
yeah, it's normal. It's so normal. Even though when you've got the dream, you'll be thinking, "This is our shot." It's not the way, like. But as long as you're still battling and fighting, and you want to do what you need to do and make music, it's the greatest accomplishment you can ever
As
achieve.
long
Like,
as you love playing, people pick up that you love doing what you're doing, right?
yeah,
And that energy eventually attracts things,
that's true. Yeah,
because I saw you
energy.
guys, and I just say, "Hey, you wanna be on the show?" So you never know, and then, you know, you never know who can see you. You never know, and then you don't know who's gonna see this, and you don't know who's gonna see your video. Now it's gonna be on this, it's gonna get replayed on all my channels, and people are gonna see it that maybe didn't see it before. And that's the whole point, because I always tell people, like, I was 17 and I played in all these bands. Everybody stopped. Everybody got married. I got married, but I didn't stop.
Yeah.
And I didn't start getting any kind of traction until I was like 48.
Wow. Wow.
48 years old, I started getting some traction. Like, if I just totally gave up when I was 18, like all my buddies, then I wouldn't be talking to you right now.
Ah, it's so true, and that's a lot of people I know that either they've gotten with somebody or and it just that they'll give up on the dream, and it's actually really sad. Like, but I've experienced it myself, and maybe I could have been a little bit more nicer to maybe push them in the direction to keep on going, but we all make our own choices, and sadly, it is
It's hard.
tough. Like,
It's hard when you're not able to prove to people that your art doesn't make money, because we kind of live in a world where things got to make money to be legitimate.
yeah, it's
But
true.
but to me, it's like it's legitimate in your heart,
Yeah,
that you
that's the
want to
most
do it,
important.
right? So you
Yeah,
just you do it because you love it, and then you'll find people who are have the same passion, and then you get gravitated to that group of people that
that's true.
understand that you do this because you love it, and eventually it pays benefits, because you never know when, if you think about the Lou Reed and the Velvet Underground, as we kind of drag out, like Lou Reed, was in a failed band, the Velvet Underground. The band broke up and got considered one of the best bands in the world, but
Yeah,
he never stopped.
true.
He
He
kept on.
didn't stop.
He never stopped, and then he finally got his due when he was like in his 40s. He started to get people saying that what he did was significant and actually inspired, like, everybody in the alternative indie world. Everybody was name checking him. Billy Corgan,
That's true.
like Nirvana, all the big alternative rock guys always would talk about Lou being their inspiration.
That's
And he
true.
never made one penny on that. He didn't make hardly any money on that stuff at all. You know?
I got turned on to Lou Reed when I was 15 and
Yeah,
heroin and all. And I
yeah,
remember watching a movie called Last Days, and it was based on Kurt Cobain. It had
yeah.
I forget who the actor was, but I remember they played heroin in it, or it could have been, yeah, I think it was heroin. And
Mhm.
amazing. And ever since then, listening to his music and phenomenalized, phenomenal.
Yeah, it just shows it's like you could. I mean, the Velvets were doing something that's totally anti-commercial.
That's
You know,
completely.
yeah. In the time they were doing, they were talking about, like, people who were sadomasochists, drug addicts, people who were, like, doing all kinds of strange things, like totally whacked out stuff that, like, how the heck is that's going to make any money? But
Yeah,
it actually inspired, like, a whole genre of music that said it doesn't have to always be happy. It doesn't
it's
have to
completely,
be,
completely
that
true.
pop song. It can be a little more substantial than that pop song. It can
Oh,
actually,
definitely.
say something. And we have genres that live off of that.
Yep.
So yeah, you do what you feel is right, and then in your own time, you might not hit it as big as you wanted, but if you create art, people find it, people and end up appreciating it. So you just keep on doing what you're doing, because it'll get to where it needs to be.
Like, even for me to be in this interview, it's like this is a bucket list completed. You know what I mean? My face is just I'm in heaven right now.
Yeah, I see
So
you've been happy. I like that.
so even like to be considered, and you say we're musicians, that's something that a lot of people never said that we would be. So it's motivational, and I'm appreciative of you and everybody that listened to our music, and even to have 100 fans or 100 people listening to us is it's an honor.
Everybody starts off with that. You go to that bar, a pizza joint, I know I went to some place in '79.
Like,
Well, I actually was playing at a pool party. Like my first
oh,
gig at some birthday party, and people were like throwing pizza at us and stuff. It's like we could have said like forget it, right? And then like by the next gig, we actually got pretty good, and people said, "Hey, we don't have to boo them out of here."
that's deadly.
So it's like you just like we could have said like after they threw the pizza, like we're
Let's give
never
up.
doing that again, right? But we said, "F it," like we want to do it, and we kept on going. It's like so you got to have the kind of guts to, yeah,
You
as a
do.
musician, you're gonna get hit, right?
Oh yeah.
Anytime you're a musician, even when you get good, when you decide that you want to do something different, you're then your fans say, "Well, that sucks.
Oh, true. Yeah.
That's shit." I don't want that at all. And it's like you got to be willing to kind of take that stand, like when you feel like it's right.
Oh, you got to be really tough mentally, and people are going to criticize you, and people are going to tell you your shit, but you just got to be like, ah, that's all right.
Yeah, that's
Keep
the
on
whole thing.
rolling.
The stuff that's the shit is the shit.
That's so true. It's true, my man. And even going back to when you said that your first gig was when you were getting thrown, pizza was getting thrown at you. Our first gig back in the day was the night Michael Jackson died. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
a crazy night.
yeah,
And
yeah.
literally, and that was right before we were playing. We all set up 2 seconds before we were about to play, and the big screen on the back came up with Michael Jackson just died. So it was
Oh,
just
man,
like,
that must have been
oh,
such a downer for everybody. Like, how do you get people to be into it?
just want to say he was a legend and loved his music.
Yeah, it's like Prince was like the biggest guy to me because I was always
Yes.
like when it had a Prince versus MJ, I was always like
Oh,
Prince actually can play,
yeah.
so I
Oh,
was always like I know Michael was a great Motown guy. He's a great Motown artist and
legend.
great overall entertainer. But I'm a musician, so I was kind of like like when I like stuff is like Coltrane, Davis, Hendrix, Clapton, Jimmy Page. It's always going to be the guy that can get the instrument,
Yeah.
you know, Mick Jones. Anytime so I was like, Prince can jump on the bass and play like Perlman. He can jump
He
on
can
the
do
bass
everything.
on the guitar and play like Santana. He can jump on the keyboard and play like Stevie Wonder. It's like so like what are you gonna say about a guy that
Yeah,
can do that? That's
it's
freaking
true.
you can't go anywhere with that.
One of my favorite Prince solos was "While My Guitar Gently Weeps." I think it was
Yeah, he
George
showed people
Harrison.
how crazy he is. Like
Wow.
I saw him at Paisley Park like in the 90s
Oh my days.
where he had like that park used to his house studio.
Ah,
He used to do if you were there, I happened to be working there, and he would do these like concerts, and he came out with a power trio, right? He came
oh,
out like Cream. He came out with a drummer and a bass player and him just on guitar, right? And he just had a bandana on like Hendrix, and he just ripped through all this freaking blues stuff that's like Eric Clapton and Jimmy Page and like and Hendrixian, and some of it was original stuff, and it was like so that kind of my guitar gently weeping. He could do that like any night he wanted. He chose to do certain types of music, but like when he
amazing.
really liked to play, the couple times I saw him, he could have just been a blues act, a power blues act, because he could do it.
Oh,
You
he's
know,
a genius. Genius.
I always said like, "Wow, I wish he would have done that more," because like I thought that he could have been like a Hendrix.
Oh,
He could have
completely.
just done albums like that. Um, but people do what they want. He wanted to do more than that. He wanted to do other stuff.
Oh,
So
completely.
that's cool.
Even the movie he did, when did the movie, was
Yeah,
amazing. Oh,
yeah.
his acting I thought was great.
Yeah.
Gotta put
He's
that.
like he could have done the acting. He could have been a better actor than he chose to do. If he had gone with a really good director, I think he could have been like Bowie. Bowie can act really good.
Yeah,
Um, and
amazing
uh,
actor.
and I just think Prince kind of lost that opportunity of kind of he's a control freak. So like if
I've
he
heard
had
that.
given up some control and let a director direct him, he could have given us something really cool. But guys are who they are.
It's true. A lot of people are set in their own ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And that's it's one of the things. But absolute legend. Love Prince. Wow. It's a shame he's not no longer here. But
well,
wow, one of my
we
greatest
have so much
influences.
music from him. It's almost like he's not gone.
He's got like, has he got like a couple more albums
Oh,
in
it's
the
more than
vault?
that. no, no, in the vault, he has enough albums to go for the next 20 years. Because I
He's
got
the man.
I got the Sign of the Times reissue, right?
Oh,
But the Sign of the
love that
Times
album.
reissue has 8 hours of music on
Oh my god.
it. It has,
I
like
gotta get that.
it's
I'm gonna
got, like,
buy that.
40 outtakes of stuff you've never heard,
Wow.
and it's all, like, top quality. It's not crap. It's actually stuff that could have been on other albums.
Oh,
And that's the thing is, like, I'm a Prince head. He's got full albums, hundreds. This is no joke. He's got hundreds of records that never were released that are like as good as Purple Rain or Sign of the Times, just never got released. He's like a Beethoven or a Bach. He just never stopped recording. He
definitely.
never stopped.
It's inspirational, and you'd call him one of the biggest role models you could ever get in music.
Yeah,
Prince.
because I mean the
What
guy
a man.
had a yeah, I know how he died, like a lot of guys die from drugs, but he had a work ethic. It was like,
Oh, ridiculous.
Hendrix had the same work ethic. If you check Hendrix's catalog from 66 to 70, he's got hundreds of songs, hundreds of songs. For everybody thinking he was partying, Hendrix played that guitar more than he partied. He actually has tr so much tape down. They still release stuff that we never heard today. So, like, these guys had their problems, but these artists, like, are very prolific, and I think, like, when you're that creative, you just create because you can't stop. I mean, some guys just can't stop. I pretty much record, like, every 2, 3 days. I've got, like, 3,000 songs in my catalog
That's amazing.
because
You
I just
gotta like Tupac. You know what I mean? Tupac never stopped.
yeah, you don't know what people are gonna like. So to me as an artist, if you have an ability to record and you can do it without costing you a lot of money, you should put down as much stuff as you can.
That's true. That's
Whether
true.
you can put it out or not, you put down as much stuff as you can because you get better. That's the first thing. You'll get better
Yeah.
as a musician if you
More you
keep
do.
on doing that.
Yeah.
And then you have so much content that if you do kick it, you'll make it easier on yourself
That's true. Yeah.
because you have
It's a
all this stuff
win-win.
that you can put out.
It's so true, mama. It's a proper
So you get to
win-win.
focus on touring because you've got a big catalog you already wrote.
Exactly. When you think about it, it makes so much sense why not keep on putting out
Yeah,
music or recording every day. As you said, you're getting better routinely, from keep on doing at it, and you've got material for the next couple of albums, couple of years.
yeah. And even if and if you suddenly your stuff kicks off, you retire, right? And suddenly starts you liking your stuff, then you can actually have all this passive income from all say, oh, if you like this, you'll like that.
Yeah,
And then you've got all this stuff that never came out and you can package it. And so
it's true.
it's like money in the bank,
Oh, it's completely. It
totally
just
true.
never ends. You know what I mean? Your
Yeah,
hard work, you do get rewarded for it, and you know,
yeah.
no better way than making music and
It's a
making
win-win,
people feel good.
just it's art. Art is, in everything. Music is in advertising, it's in film, it's in TV, it's in video games,
Oh,
it's on
completely.
Twitch, you know streamers are using people's music.
That's
If you
true.
set yourself up right, you can get your music licensed and get it set up
Yeah.
to be used by streamers, and you get passive income, and you're like, "I'm not even touring," and you can get money. Um,
Sure, you see rightly with like Goodfellas, all the great songs on that movie,
yeah,
even video games like Grand Theft Auto, all the
yeah.
fantastic songs on the radios in them games. You
Yeah,
know,
the games is the new frontier. If you work it out with the right distributors, you can get yourself into games. So a lot of what's going on is it's more distribution than labels today.
yeah,
I would tell any artist you need to look into like doing your beat, get into a pro organization like BMI and register your songs. Then what can happen is then like I this is a story for people to understand before we go.
oh,
I've been writing for a long time, right? And I'm on SoundCloud. SoundCloud got me a deal where I got to be on Repost after I got so many people were listening to me. Now they distribute my work,
they-
and so I get on like all the platforms through that, right? And then they also have a publishing thing where they work with like BMI, and they just came to me and said, "Hey, if you you can actually get passive income from people, Twitch streamers, being authorized to use your work. You just have to like take your BMI registrations and send the songs you want them to be able to stream, and you'll get passive income. So all I'm saying is like if people make sure that they own your master, make sure you register your songs with a pro organization like a BMI.
Yeah,
Make sure that you don't get caught up in deals where people own your
that's
copyright
true.
stuff,
That's true.
and just look into it online and wherever you can, and make sure that you register your work. Go in to
Completely.
figure out how to be a member of some pro organization,
Hmm.
like ASCAP or BMI. Register all your music, and you'll never know when you actually start helping you support yourself with your music.
It's so true. And even, even just to add, even when Paul McCartney ended up, remember the Beatles back catalogue got sold
Yeah,
to Michael
yeah,
Jackson,
Michael bought it. Yeah,
and he was just like, "Why? I wish I knew."
you got to register. You got to own it. Like you
Yeah,
better make sure that you own what all it takes is like you go to that pro organization and say who wrote it.
yeah,
Who's got it. Well, you got 200% because you wrote it, you own it, you didn't give it to anybody else.
that's true.
Right?
That's true.
And then once you have that, then it's written down and nobody can rip you off. So
Yeah,
people start playing your song, they got to pay you. They
that's
start
true.
using it, they got to pay you. And then
Yeah,
you don't even have to track them down. They track them
yeah,
down.
no, that's true. And that's one of the things, like, especially when you're trying to, get into music and try to make money from it. Those are the things you don't know about. So definitely the research on that, it helps you along the way completely.
Every artist
Completely.
should take a little time from practicing and trying to get what you're doing and look into making sure that you own your master, that you
Yeah.
don't get into like 70, 20, 30 contracts where like you own 30 and 70 is like somebody else owns. Just
Oof.
understand you got to be careful.
No,
Um,
completely.
and if it doesn't seem like it feels right, then it's not right.
Yeah. Oh, if you do get a feeling for it, if it's not right, just
Yeah,
don't do it.
somebody's taking 80% of something you wrote that don't feel right.
Get out. I
This is
remember.
obvious. I don't need a lawyer to tell me that. I can figure that one out.
That's true, my man.
Don't
That's
make
true.
it just like that's not cool.
That's not cool. It's right. That's not cool.
Okay,
But
man.
no,
Like I'm gonna we have to cut it short a little bit, but we are going to give you the link for this. Um, Everywhere it's being played, you get the YouTube, you get the you'll get the our Facebook and the Twitch, and we'll also get you the Spotify once it gets published, and the Apple and the Anchor FM, which we're a member of Anchor FM.
thank you, sir.
They're the ones who distribute us on like 11 platforms. So like we'll get you the top three, and then everywhere else that you think there's a podcast, like Stitcher, Overcast, Radio Public, all those places this episode will be.
Can I just say thank you so much? You've hit a bucket list. This is the first interview I've ever done, and it's been the most relaxed and easiest one I've ever done. It's amazing. I've had the best day ever. You've made me day. You've made me you. Thank you,
Cool.
sir.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
everybody, thank you so much.
Okay. Well, hey man, we're gonna take it off, but don't leave for a second, and we're gonna be off there.
Stay safe.